All right, welcome everybody. We are here to discuss a proper human diet. And with us today, we've got a very special guest with a very, very interesting story. We've got Teresa, one of the advisors and moderators in Dr. Ken Berry's private PhD community. So we want to give a big welcome to Teresa. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for having just a quick little discussion. And, we're going to treat this, rather than going out to all kinds of people, you and me, we're just going to have us a talk, have us a chat, and just going to see where it goes. And here's what I want to know. First and foremost is where you're at now is a far cry from where you came from. I saw the intro video, the story video that you did the other day, and we'll link that underneath here. But give us a brief synopsis of why are we talking today? Why are you in the place that you're at, and how did you get here?
Okay. Yeah. I'm here because I I was in danger.
Mhm.
I was on a whole food plant-based diet for 14 months, thinking that I would get my body into a state of health. And because you watch the documentaries and everything on TV is like, eat plants. It's the healthiest way to be, and avoid meat. And so I tried it. I tried it for 14 months. And it ended because I could not continue any further. My state of health was so bad that it was really hard to function from the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep. I was popping 800 milligrams of Motrin every 4 hours. It was a horrendous way to live. And I had to get out of it. So I went to YouTube. I don't know why I went to YouTube, but that's where I went. And I started looking up why I'm no longer plant-based or vegan videos. And then on the little sidebar, Dr. Berry popped up, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? So just out of chance, I mean, I had no reason to click on him, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm here and
Wow.
in a perfect state of health. So that's how I got here. I am also now a firm believer that there are no accidents. So if you just happen to click on something or stumble on something, that's not an accident. You were supposed to find it. And I believe that now, after going through carnivore and completely healing my body and my health.
So you said 14 months,
Yeah.
and then it became unsustainable to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
How did you start that process? Was that just you saying, I feel bad, I feel unhealthy, I'm going to try this, or was it a doctor's direction or a nutritionist? How did you start that process? Were you searching for a particular reason, I guess?
A particular reason to be on carnivore, or
No,
just to
no,
change
no.
my diet, period?
Yeah, when you started a plant-based diet, what made you start that? Were you already feeling poorly, unhealthy? And you said, well, I
Yeah.
guess this is the direction I need to go. So what were your symptoms even prior to starting that?
Okay. So I had fatigue. Um, I just didn't feel as alert as I was used to feeling. I had some excess body fat. My cycle was kind of getting a little off, like it was getting more painful and heavier.
Mhm.
So I was looking to kind of balance that, fix that, maybe lose some of my excess fat and just have more energy. And those were really my only complaints before I started the plant-based diet.
Now, when you went plant-based, did those symptoms remain the same, get better, or get worse?
They got worse.
Okay.
And I tacked on a whole lot more. So the first, I'd say, month of the plant-based diet, my energy increased a little. I was still napping during the day, but it was a little bit better. And I dropped the initial water weight. Whenever you change up your way of eating, that's the first thing to go. And so I was like, okay, so start. And I didn't notice any changes at all at the 6-month mark. What I noticed was a worsening of symptoms and a whole lot more. My skin got really dry and it started to flake and become really itchy. I started getting dandruff, and then I developed what I would later find out was seborrheic dermatitis. And so my forehead would just flake.
Wow.
Kind of like dandruff, but just on your forehead. So it was difficult going out into public because I would have to scrape all of the flakes off of my forehead before I even felt comfortable going out. And there's no way to cover that. Well, you could get bangs, but then the flakes would end up in your bangs. It's just like horrible dandruff. So, I started experiencing.
So there was an emotional, social detriment to all this. It affected socially and emotionally.
Yes. And then I started developing the same thing that Kelly Hogan did with the boils. And they were just reoccurring and would pop up, and they're so painful. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll have to look it up again, but that was horrible. I started getting plantar fasciitis in my feet. And it got so bad that I bought one of those little knee scooters because I just can't sit down 24/7. One, it would drive me crazy. And two, I've got too much stuff to do. So I got the little knee scooter so I could scoot around the house and, let the dogs out, cook, whatever. But that was really painful. I had also gained 40 pounds eating plants.
Right. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. Don't ask me how, but yeah. I was always starving, but at the same time, it was painful to eat because every time I ate, I would get really horrible bloating, and it would last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour after. And then shortly after eating, I would need to eat again because it's just not satiating. The only time you feel full is shortly after you eat because you're so bloated that you can't even
all the bulk in there, but it's empty.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Yes.
And the supplements, oh my goodness.
Ching ching.
Every time I had another ailment, I would go to the plant-based communities and even the vegan communities. I was not vegan, by the way. I want to make that very clear. I just ate like one, but I would go there to figure out what they were doing to sustain this way of eating. And So if I had an ailment or something, I would go and look it up and, oh, you need this supplement, or, this helped me. And so I was buying supplements left and right, and all kinds of potions and lotions to put on my forehead to kind of make it look nice and get my skin looking normal. And like a fourth of my counter was covered in pill bottles. It's
Now, what was this under just the direction of people in the community, or were some of those nutritionists, doctors, some kind of healthcare professional, or was this just folks, just people?
No, this was just people. At this point, I had not seen a doctor in 19 years. Um, it was, yeah, when my son was 2 was the last time I went to a doctor. I was very angry with them, so I avoided them at all costs. I did have to see a doctor when I was 38 to get my gallbladder removed, but that was an emergency room situation,
Right.
acute problem, got the gallbladder out, and then never went back. So yeah, I mean, I did everything that they said. I added chia seeds, I added flax seeds. The amount of ingredients that were in the green drink was insane. And it would take maybe 30 minutes just to blend a green drink, because you're sitting
Uh-huh.
there adding all of that stuff in. And as much spinach and kale that I had put into those green drinks, the fact that I'm here talking and not dead of acute oxalate poisoning is amazing, because, oh my God, did I eat so much spinach. It was crazy.
Well, now
And
let me ask you this. You mentioned oxalate. Yeah, we're talking about eating plants all the time.
yeah,
Explain real quick, what is an oxalate? Why is that so bad?
okay. An oxalate uh, is it's a little crystal that is contained in plants, and each variety of plant has a different type of oxalate. And if you look up Sally Key Norton, she has a whole video of it with even photos of different kinds of oxalates that are contained in plants. And they are the defense mechanism of the plant. So when we ingest them, we're not going to have a good time. And that is the purpose that the plant has for having these oxalates. So they get into the body and they really like organs. They like joints. They like kidneys. And they will hang out in those places. And one thing that it can do is bind with calcium
Mhm.
and create calcium oxalate kidney stones. Because most kidney stones, I believe it's like 86% of kidney stones are calcium oxalate. They have, I'm not sure if they play a role in gout. Did Dr. Berry ever talk about that?
I can't remember. He may
I mean, they
have.
do hang out in joints, so maybe it is something to do with gout, but it is
It's still bad
a
news no
cause
matter
of,
how you cut it.
yeah, is a cause of joint inflammation, so you'll feel very uncomfortable. And when I was detoxing from oxalates, and I'm not quite sure that I'm done yet, they really like my right eye.
Hmm.
So in the beginning, every 3 to 4 weeks, I would oxalate dump out of my eye. It would get really, really red.
I said
And
people hear the term oxalate dumping. That's just your
yes,
body getting rid of it from the path of least resistance. In your
right.
case, your right eye.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had actually pulled one out of my eye, and
Wow.
I looked at it and I got a picture of it and I did post it in Mighty Networks. It's horrifying. And I'm just sitting there looking at it for like, I don't know, 5 minutes, just amazed that this thing came out of my eye. And, it's a little disturbing. You're bleeding from your eye and your eye's all red and swollen, looks like you have pink eye. And then you pull a piece of glass out of it and you're like, what is going on? And I only ever captured the one, but I've had many episodes of oxalate dumping, and it's only in this eye. I don't understand it.
Well, from what I've read,
that.
it's path of least resistance. It's
Right.
Your body's just trying to get rid of it somehow, some way. And yeah, if it finds a weak spot here, and it'll start to ooze out of there. And yeah, so
Yeah.
but the eyeball,
So
that's gross.
Well, it is. And I'm actually glad that, it was my eye and not more kidney stones, because I got 2 kidney stones when I was on the plant diet. Now I know why.
Mm-hmm.
And those feel like childbirth. For anybody who's never had a kidney stone, especially men, if you want to know what childbirth feels like, have a kidney stone or pass one. That's what it's like, only it's a little bit worse, because where women have contractions and we get that small little break after a contraction, the kidney stone just keeps going. That pain, there's no break until you pass it. Yeah.
No, thank you. No. Thank you. And see, that's what Dr. Chafee means when they're trying to kill you. Plants are trying to kill you.
They are. They don't. I mean, I don't think they're trying to kill us,
right.
But it is a slow death.
And it's a defense mechanism from the plants on purpose.
Yes, it is a very slow death, and it's not fun. And in addition to all of that, I lost 3 teeth. Well, 3.5. I broke two molars back here, just shattered. And mind you, while I was on this diet, I wasn't barely chewing. Most of my diet was liquid. And if I did, eat solid food, it was very soft. So I did not, break it on a piece of candy. I didn't eat candy.
They just deteriorated just sitting there.
Yes. So 2 molars down here, this tooth, and half of the one next to it. I got to get that other one taken out, but that's another story. They just broke.
And I've heard that from several people.
Yeah. And, I've been carnivore for 1.5 years, and this other half of this tooth has been perfectly fine. It's strong. I chew meat. I gnaw on bones, and it's not budging. So there's something to be said about that.
So, okay. So we're talking with Teresa, a advisor and moderator in the PhD community. And she went from a very heavy plant-based diet to now she's a carnivore. When you started that, how long? So you said it was 14 months ago, roughly?
That I've been carnivore?
Yeah.
Oh
no, it's 14 months that you were on plant-based. How long have you been carnivore?
15.5 months. So
okay.
Almost.
So you already beat your record on plant-based.
Yes.
And how long was the transition from I'm eating just about all plants to I'm going to start eating meat? Did you start with a low carb and then keto, or did you just cold turkey it? And what did that process look like? And what were some pros and cons of that adaptation process?
Okay. So, yeah, I was plant-based, miserable, starving, sick, and in chronic pain. And essentially I said, I can't do this anymore. And it was in the height of COVID. So DoorDash was really big. And I announced to my family, I have had it. We're ordering Denny's. And I got the biggest burger on their menu. It was the Slam Burger. So I think it was is it a double? I'm not sure if it's a double.
Think so, but it's been a minute.
Yeah. So a burger with bacon, with hash browns, with an egg, and food
The
never
complete
tasted
opposite.
so good. I will never forget the moment I ate that thing. It was wonderful. I still got bloated and stuff, but it didn't matter. I was just, I'm full. I'm actually full.
I've missed you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess you could say for about a week, maybe a little bit less than a week, I went from whole food plant-based to sad. And that's when I was doing my binge watching of why I'm no longer vegan videos, and then found Dr. Berry. And so my youngest daughter, she had just baked a strawberry cake. And that is what we had for breakfast that morning, right before I found Dr. Berry's video. So I had a huge piece of strawberry cake, so good. And I washed it down with a Dr. Pepper. Don't judge. We've all done horrible things. I was just so happy not to be eating plants. So yeah, we debauched hardcore that morning. And after I clicked on his video, it wasn't
Did you
a
just
very
use
long.
debauch as a verb? Interesting.
Yeah.
I like debauch.
And I clicked on his video, I watched it, and she's over on the table over here. I was like, hey, Sarah, you want to do something crazy? And she's like, what? And I was like, let's go carnivore. I love that little girl. She will do anything with me. She's just, I don't know, maybe it's an Aquarius thing, or she just jumped right in. And so we decided that we were going to detox our bodies and do a 36-hour fast. Mind you, we knew nothing about carnivore, about starting anything like this. We were just going in. So
had you done any fasting strategies on the plant-based diet?
Never.
So
You can't fast on a plant-based diet.
Well,
You will
not
die of
intentionally.
starvation.
So you really went, you didn't just go to the deep end. You didn't go to the first, jump. You went all the way to the top plank and just closed your eyes and jumped.
Yes.
And took somebody with you.
Yes, I took my daughter with me. She did surprisingly well during the fast. And I chalk that up to youth and the fact that she has not abused her body as long as I have. Right. Because I was suffering. I didn't know about electrolytes. No idea.
That's huge.
Yeah. So I kept having to lay down and take a nap because I would get really, really drowsy. And it felt like I was sick. That's what it felt like. You know, when you got a really bad cold going on and you just can't function, that's what I was going through. And she's so sweet. She's like, you got this, Mom. You can do it. I've seen you do worse. And I was like, oh, thank you, sweetie. No, I'm going to go have a nap, but you have fun.
That's nice. Get my pillow.
Yeah. And I made it, I think, 30 hours.
Okay.
And then I was just like, no, I need to eat. I got to eat something. So I think we had some chicken. I forgot what we had. We hadn't officially gone shopping yet. So yeah, I had some chicken and I felt better. So I'm assuming it was the sodium and the actual food. I don't know. But now I know better. And I make sure everybody has electrolytes before starting the diet.
learning is important.
Yeah.
And this is, and all joking aside, I've always heard it's one thing to learn from your own mistakes, but it's even smarter to learn from someone else's mistakes. So
Yes.
to learn, you had some mistakes, and we can laugh about it now that it's over. But learn from what she's saying, and don't just approach this blindly, but learn
Right.
from what she did and what some of the other influencers and some of the other experts are saying, because it'll save you time and a lot of frustration. I know myself personally, I made a lot of dumb mistakes myself, and I've seen other people. We were the strong ones. We stuck around, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that when they hit that resistance, they quit because they don't have the support or they don't have the information or the knowledge. And if they just had that, then they'd be able to go much further. So learn
Right.
from your mistakes, but learn from others' mistakes too.
Exactly. So yeah, if I were to go back and tell my 1.5 year ago self how to start, it would be eat everything that you can get your hands on and eat until you're full. Don't start this diet unless you're stocked with electrolytes and salt.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we set up just eat when you're hungry, eat until you're full, have electrolytes and salt, and then progress. As you go on, you can learn stuff. But yeah, day one, have those two things.
So when you made that transition, you had your 36 or your 30-hour fast. You broke that with some protein and some sodium. How long before did you have some issues adapting your body, as far as were there energy issues, gut issues, anything to before you were fat adapted? Was there challenges along the way in the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Um, nothing out of the ordinary. It's what everybody goes through. Your body's not used to having that much fat, so you will have disaster pants for a few weeks. Stay relatively close to a bathroom after meals, but
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of the day, I would be fine. If I wasn't eating, then I'm fine. So the usual things, and I was a little worried because I didn't have a gallbladder, but it really wasn't that bad. I don't think that I adapted worse than the average person. Just had the same struggles. What I found very surprising is that day 2 of eating carnivore, I no longer had bloating, not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no stomach cramping. And I just remember sitting there and I smiled because I was just like, wow. Because towards the end of the plant diet, I had horrible anxiety and really bad depression. And I got really anxious when I ate because I knew the
You
pain
knew.
was coming. And so yeah, day 2 of carnivore, I just kind of sat back and relaxed a little bit. And I was just like, this is nice. And I ate a lot of food. So I was just waiting for it to happen. I was like, it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. It never did. And so eating has been an absolute joy since day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, when that happens, you really don't care if you have diarrhea for a few weeks. It's just that
When you
was
can
a big
enjoy eating.
victory. Yes, that was huge. Um, it was day 4. My energy started getting better. And I thought that was really fast. And I wasn't reading about people having energy that fast. It wasn't perfect, but it
Right.
was much better. And
You weren't being forced to lay down and take a nap or catch a few winks in
right.
the day.
And then Oh my God, I just forgot what I was going to say. Okay, so
In,
energy.
insert joke about brain fog.
I can't even tell you how bad that was on a plant diet. I
Mhm.
read, like I love to read. In fact, I'm reading this and enjoying it. That should tell you how big of a nerd I am. When I was on the plant diet, I could not read anymore. I could read like a paragraph and then my brain would just stop functioning. I
Did you find
didn't
yourself
retain.
rereading the last 4 pages you just read and still
Yes.
trying to get it? Yeah.
Yeah. And if I could even read for 20 minutes, it was a miracle.
Mhm.
So that was another cause of depression because I love to read. I had to read. I love reading and I couldn't
Mhm.
do it anymore. It was horrible. So yeah, anyway,
Oh, and the
yeah, day
mechanisms for that you can read that in Dr. Palmer's book, Brain Energy. If you really want to
yeah,
get into the weeds of the metabolic processes in your brain, wow,
yeah,
that'll blow your mind.
yeah. And I didn't read or even know about Dr. Palmer until I was like months into carnivore, but I did notice within, I think it was 4 weeks, it was within the first month, my anxiety was gone and my depression was probably about 50% better. And then by 2 months, the depression was gone. And I was just, I
You
think I
were
made a post
free.
about it. I was smiling for no reason. I was like, why am I happy? Oh, who cares? I'm happy.
Who cares? I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been this way in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. And so, yeah, when we were talking about energy, yeah, around day 4, I think it was the first week I started noticing better energy. My sleep was kind of off though. I kept waking up in the middle of the night and to just go pee. It was so much, so much. And I was like, how does my bladder even hold this? Because I would wake up in the middle of the night, dump a whole bladder full, and then wake up in the morning and dump a whole nother bladder full. I was like, what is going on? And of course, later you realize your inflammation is going away. So your body
Right.
is dumping all of that excess water. And so I was like, this is crazy. And I think that lasted about, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. And then all of a sudden, like 6 pounds was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'm not complaining. After that, my sleep was perfect. I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom anymore. And then all of a sudden, the energy was just getting better and better. So I was like, okay, this is cool. We're gonna stick with this, especially since my stomach wasn't hurting. It was officially the only way I could eat, period. So I wasn't going back to plans. That's for sure.
No. Well, but why, if it hurts, why go back?
Right. That's just like, I don't know, some kind of self-torture. I
There's someone that we know would say, well, that's just foolishness.
Yeah, yeah,
So you were able to start eating, and you know, here's the beauty of this. Maybe it's a paradox. You should eat to live, not live to eat. But
yeah,
now you can do both. You
right.
can enjoy eating and know that this is eating to live, to function better, to fuel your body and your brain, and you can actually enjoy it, and it's not torture. You don't have the anxiety. You don't have the bloating, the gut issues. You can just enjoy and have a better quality of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So so what's next? You've been a carnivore for almost 2 years now. What do you see changing in not just your diet, but just in your overall health? What's next on the horizon for Teresa?
Well, that's really simple. I do not see my diet changing. As of right now, I have no plans or desire to eat another plant ever. I can't say that I would never do it, but right now I have no plans. I'm going to stay carnivore. Yeah. Um, as far as my health, I have no complaints. I had a long list of ailments. I took a lot of supplements. I took a lot of pain medication. I don't even have so much as a headache ever. And if I feel a headache coming on, I know instantly that I need more salt. And the second I take the salt, there's no sign of the headache. I don't have any complaints whatsoever.
Just keep on keeping on.
Yes.
Oh, now let me ask you this, because we've had a little bit of discussion in the forums about this. Where are you on exercise, movement, just general activity? Did you hit the gym 3 times a day when you first started carnivore?
Absolutely not. I wanted to, well, first of all, as badly as my body felt when I started, there was no way. My weakness, and I didn't notice it because it was so gradual, was out of control. I went from, when you go grocery shopping and you don't want to make 20 trips into the house bringing groceries in, so you grab as many bags in your hand as you possibly can.
Until your
Okay,
fingers turn blue?
yeah, I used to be able to do that like a champ. And I noticed towards the end of the plant diet that I couldn't carry more than 2 bags. And it would have to be like bread or something light.
Mhm.
And my wrists hurt really bad. I had an old carpal tunnel injury act up, and my muscles in general just, it was out of control. So, yeah, when I started, I had no desire whatsoever to go to the gym. I just wanted to heal. And for 10 months, I did absolutely nothing. Um, I was active around my house. I'm guilty of not going on walks either. So I didn't even take walks. I just did my daily activities. At 10 months, I had hit 100 pounds lost and decided, thanks, and decided now's the time. I feel good. I feel strong. It's time to work out. I was a prior gym rat in my 20s. So I was not shy to working out or a noob or anything like that. So I jumped right in. I started CrossFit.
Yeah, jumping into the deep end again.
Right. And
Sledgehammer on the tractor tire.
right. And it was fun. It really felt good to get moving again and to see that my body was capable. Because like I said, at the end of the plant-based diet, I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel capable at all. I felt weak, and
And that
it's
could have
not a
led to
good,
serious injury too.
yeah, it's not a good feeling. And yeah, I felt really good. I didn't like the running bits. Like sometimes we would have to run 200 meters or 400 meters. And so I told him I was just going to skip that. And my coach kind of, he's all like, okay, I'll compromise with you then. If you don't want to run, how about the rowing machine? I was like, you got it. I'll do the rowing machine. I'm not running. So yeah. And then
Said, well, Sean Baker does a rowing machine.
yeah. Yeah. So 2 months after that, I started adding additional days of weight training. I think I did 2 days of CrossFit because I didn't want to push it too hard right in the beginning. And then, so I had 2 days of CrossFit and 3 days of weight training. And at this point, I did not lose or gain. So what I'm thinking is I was probably still losing fat because my clothes were getting looser, but at the
Right.
same time, I was also gaining muscle. And that's why it's important to stay off the scales, boys and
Yes.
girls.
Thank you.
Yes, because you don't know what's going on in there. Go by how your clothes feel. That is the best measure ever. So yeah, that was like really fun. And I started seeing like my shoulders. Okay, this is really weird. But when I was a plant eater, my shoulders sloped like this. It literally looked like it was a hanger, that you hang your clothes on.
Hmm.
It was really weird. And now if you see them, they're like straight. And if
Definition.
I didn't have like this little sweater on, you would see the little balls on the end, where my shoulder muscles are starting to come in.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, but yeah, I I have to find a picture one of these days, but the slope was horrible. And I just wondered, was I degrading so bad? And, how long was I away from, really causing permanent damage? Because right now I feel
Hmm.
great. What would have happened had I stayed on that diet any longer? And that's the only thing that freaks me out.
Right.
But yeah, currently I am taking a break. I am more active at home. Like I'm standing up at my desk more, not today, obviously. Um, but I want to try and implement some of the things that we're learning in our primal health
Hmm.
coach certification and limit my weight training to 2 times a week, lay off the CrossFit for a little bit, and then do sprinting instead.
Right.
And then I want to do that N=1 experiment and see how I feel doing that.
Fantastic. And just doing a lot of like you said, the around the house, just the low intensity, but moving a lot, changing positions a
Yeah,
lot, not being
yeah,
sedentary.
right.
And I know for me, just even when I'm at work, I've got an adjustable desk, and I'll just change it up every now and then. I'll take the long route to the coffee pot, and
Right.
little thing. You can do calf raises, all day long. I'll go to the restroom and do squats in there because otherwise people think you're a little weird. And I'll do push-ups at home because I'm not doing that on a public floor. I draw the line.
Yeah.
I draw the line. But yeah, just getting some of that. That's why we've got a small group right now of people that are just like, yeah, this movement, this habit of movement. So you pair a proper human diet wherever you fall in that spectrum, pair that with regular movement, 80% of your time at that low intensity with the occasional sprints, and then proper rest. And like you found out, you can get proper rest when you've worked on your diet and you're not, and it's just like all works synergistically. And it's just so cool as that starts to happen, not only in yourself, but then when you see that in other people, you're like, wow, it's a thing, it's working. People are
Right.
healthier, they have more energy, they can enjoy you know having more movement, flexibility, functionality from
Yeah.
all of those things, and just a better quality of life. And that's,
Yeah.
I know for me to see that other, it's so rewarding. And
It
yeah,
is.
you give the internal huzzah to people as they're doing it. Nothing like it. Well, we're about out of time. What can people do? Where can people find you, Teresa?
Well, interestingly enough, I finally got up the nerve to start a YouTube channel.
Yay!
I'm still, you know, a little awkward talking and but I'll get better. I'll get better. And I do have
Well,
an Instagram that I try to post in, but I don't think I've posted anything in like a couple weeks. So watch, I'll make a post today because yeah, I feel bad about it now.
well, you know. Well, cool. Well, what we'll do is in the notes of this video, we'll have links to how people can find you. And of course, they
Oh,
can
thank you.
find you in Dr. Barry's private PhD community. We'll have a link for that as
Yes,
well.
I spend a
Teresa,
big chunk of my life.
yes, yes. And you're just, you're such an active person, active advisor, active moderator in the community. And I know I appreciate it, and the other moderators, we greatly appreciate everything that you bring to the table, and can't thank you enough for that.
Thank
So
you.
we'll get all the things down in the notes, and just thank you so much for coming on, just sharing a little bit more of your story. And
Thank you.
with that, we will talk to you soon.